The teams are in for the big Essendon versus Carlton game, and there's one big change and potentially three big changes, but certainly one big change, and we're going to get into it right now with this video. So the teams are in, and we'll just quickly do Carlton first. Alex Cincotta, Hudson O'Keefe, Orazio Fantasia, the former Bomber, of course. Zach Williams and Jack Silvani are in. Lewis Young and Harry O'Farrell are out for the Blues. So at least on paper, they are probably slightly strengthened. So we can have a look at their team here. Obviously a reasonably strong team, particularly at the top end. This is where Carlton's strength is. They're obviously best players. They've got Patrick Cripps, George Hewitt, who is probably putting up numbers this year better than anyone else in the team, including Cripps. The big talls, Curnow and Mackay, of course, down there. But it does fall away a little bit in terms of their depth. This is one of the question marks against Carlton, and it's one area that we might be able to, get on top of them and potentially win this game. You've got their interchange bench: Matthew Carroll, Orazio Fantasia, Jesse Motlop, Will White, Hudson O'Keefe, Alex Cincotta, Corey Durden, and Jackson Binns. It's not a team that leaps out at you when you look at, say, the bottom 10 players on their list. So this is a chance for the Bombers, and we're going to get into the Bomber team right now because there are a couple of interesting inclusions. So Darcy Parish is in. Now, this is not a surprise. He's played the last two games in the VFL, and it's kind of almost like the last three games because prior to those last two games, the VFL had a bye, and he had a bit of an extended training session to get his body right in the absence of a VFL game. So he would have played three VFL games. He's had an extended training session where he couldn't play because there's no game, plus two full games. So it's really a bit like three games. So really he's on too much money to be running around in the VFL. I like the idea of him coming into the team, even though obviously we are short of defenders, short of tall players. I kind of think we just need to go all in on the midfield, really. There's not much we can do in terms of the lack of height. There's just not a lot there. Obviously, there's not a lot we can bring in, but we really need to go all in with the smaller players and the smaller lineup. They're expecting maybe a little bit of rain. You don't know. This is Melbourne, of course. Melbourne could bring any kind of weather. It could be drizzling before the game, and then it could be fine. But I think that actually might help us. I think it could potentially take Curnow and Mackay not out of the game, but limit them a little bit. And it certainly could help us if we continue to play like we did in the last half against the Brisbane Lions. Darcy Parish is a very important midfielder, and you add him in there with, Merritt, Martin, Setterfield, all these sort of players, Caldwell, of course, then I think it makes our midfield, a strength. And Carlton's midfield has been a strength for them. So this gives us a chance to match them. I've mentioned quite a few times, I think Parish is the type of player that's at his best when he's, 3 games back or so from injury. Well, this is about 3 weeks back anyway. He's played a couple of games in the VFL. And we all know, especially from his 2021 form, what he can produce when he's at his best. So let's hope he can resume and be a very, very important player for us. So the other two ins, both first gamers, potentially. But remember, it's an extended bench. Luamine Lual, this is potentially a bit of a surprise. And Liam McMahon. Now, Liam McMahon, we'll just get to Liam McMahon first. Liam McMahon, two things suggest that he could potentially get into the team this weekend. One is that he's played against Carlton before, so he knows their game plan, at least partially. When I say he played with Carlton before, played with the VFL, okay, played with the Carlton VFL side, was on their list. So he's trained with them, would have trained with a lot of the senior players and would know a few little hints that he might be able to pass on to the team. The other thing is that even though he did play in the forward line mainly for at least 3 quarters in the VFL, he did play, I think he played a quarter in the back line. It's a bit difficult to tell when I was watching the VFL stream, but it was apparent that he was playing the last 3 quarters in the forward line. He kicked 2 goals too, and I think he might have played the first quarter in the back line. He has played in defence before, he says. Not in recent times, but earlier he has played in defence, and obviously that is a potential move for the Bombers just with his size. He's a very, very tall player. He's about 197 centimetres, something like that. I don't think he'll make his debut this week. I think he'll probably remain on the extended bench. But look, he's there, and we'll see what happens. Luaman Lual, this one's interesting. I don't think he's played that well in the VFL, but look, maybe there's things that they've been watching for him in particular in terms of giving him jobs. You know, look, he's speed. He's got speed and competitiveness. And those things stood out in his, debut season in the VFL, and he did string together some consistent performances. He is versatile. He has trained as a wingman, even though he's added sort of new layers to his game. He's got rebounding ability. He's known for his aggressive rebounding. He can move the ball, effectively from defence to attack. He just probably needs to develop, more defensive positioning and decision making under pressure. At least that's my observation. But look, the people who have made the decision to at least bring him into the extended bench, they know more than we do. And they've probably seen things in the VFL that think that he's very, very close to making a debut. So that's pretty exciting, having him there in the side. I suspect he will be an emergency. And we'll just go through the team now, and we'll have a look at how it actually might all pan out. So we have, in the forward line, Isaac Kako, Peter Wright and Ben Hobbs. Across the half-forward line, Nick Martin, Nate Caddy and Archie Perkins. Angus Clark is on the wing. Again, I think this is a good move. He obviously played a couple of games there in the VFL before making his debut in the AFL. And I think this is a potential strength. He's played pretty well. And look, if he can kick a couple of goals from that position like he did in his first game against Richmond, then all good. Angus Clark, Zach Merritt and Xavier Dersma across the middle of the ground. Halfback, Jackson Pryor, Mason Redman and Zach Johnson retains his spot in the team, and he is not on the bench, so he will not be the sub. So hopefully he's there to give us a bit of run out of halfback, and it'll be interesting to watch him team up with McGrath. I can just imagine him and McGrath exchanging handballs and running out of the back line. I can sort of visualise that now. And Archie Roberts, Jaden Laverde and Andrew McGrath across the full back line. The followers, Todd Goldstein, Jai Caldwell and Sam Durham. It's not a surprise that Goldstein is still in the team. There is a 10-day break between our last game against Brisbane and now. So if you're going to rest Goldstein and bring in perhaps Vigo Vicentini, you're probably going to do it when we have a 6-day break like we might have next week for our following match. We have a 10-day break against, before this match against Carlton. So why would you rest him when you have a 10-day break? So the interchange bench, Darcy Parish, Elijah Sartis, Jade Gresham, Will Setterfield, Luaman Lual, Matt Guelphy, Archer Day Wicks, and Liam McMahon. So looking at that, I think Parish definitely plays. I think Setterfield definitely plays. You can make a case for the others are they're tough decisions to make. I really don't know. I don't think Lual gets to that final 5 on the bench. I just don't think he does. But look, what do you guys think anyway? I mean, this is a tough one. I look at that interchange bench, and it really could be anyone. But Parish and Setterfield definitely. Look, they're not going to play Setterfield. They're not going to have him miss out. He's playing against his former team, and he could play an important tagging role on either Cripps or Walsh. I think he'll probably play on Cripps. So, what do you guys think of the team? There it is. 3 changes, no outs as yet, extended bench. Who do you think will make the extended bench? Are you surprised that Luaman Lual is in the team? I'd love to know what you think. Let me know in the comments. Have a great day, everybody. Hit like and subscribe for this channel if you like this content. And as always, go Bombers.